You are listening to Part 11A of the podcast series, 21 Qualities of a Leader.
Now, before I give you quality number 11, let me just say this. Of the 21 qualities that we're learning in this series, I would say that this is probably most leaders' greatest weakness. It's listening. In fact, what I often say is this: to connect with their hearts, you have to use your ears. You have to listen. The law of connection in my book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, says leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. In other words, before I can touch a heart, I have to know what's in it. I have to learn that, and I learned that by listening. In your notes, 60%, Peter Drucker says this, of all management problems are a result of faulty communication. And the overwhelming majority of communication problems is in not listening. And I have discovered that great leaders are great learners, and great leaders are great listeners. Two qualities that you want to have. Obviously, we're talking about the quality of listening right now. Pat Summitt, the ladies basketball coach at University of Tennessee, is a tremendous leader, and I'll never forget one time when I was up at University of Tennessee and had spent some time with her and some time with the players on the team, and was attending a game with them, that at halftime I went into the locker room with the lady volunteers, and much to my surprise, Pat Summitt nor the coaches, they didn't immediately go into the locker room, or at least the section that we were in. And then I sat back in a chair and I watched one of the players on the team, one of the girls, go up to a marker board and take the marker and look at her players, about 10 or 11 of them, and she said, okay, what did we do right in the first half? And she had a column what they did right in the first half. And then she said, what did we do wrong in the second half? And she had a column what they did wrong in the second half. And then she had a third column, what do we need to change in the second half? And I sat there and I watched this exercise, and about 7-8 minutes later, here comes Pat Summitt into the room, goes straight up to the marker board, goes straight to the three columns, and she begins to evaluate how they have evaluated the first half. She tweaked a couple things and turned a couple things maybe a little bit differently. But basically, what Pat Summitt wanted to do is she wanted to find out if her players knew what the problem was, if they knew what the issues were. And so she went through that, and then she sent them out at second half. And so later on that evening after the game, we were talking, and I shared with her, I said, Pat, that was a very interesting exercise. I said, talk to me about it. And here's what she said. She said, when I began coaching at the University of Tennessee, I just told people what to do. I thought leadership was telling. And she said, I, after a few years, realized that I was, and I love this phrase. This phrase, she said, just grabbed me. It marked me in my mind forever. She said, I realized that I was leading by assumption. I was assuming that my players understood things, had certain values. And she said, I was trying to coach them not from where they were, but from where I was. And she said, all of a sudden I realized I had to go back and I had to find out where they were. And the only way I could find out where they were was by listening. And she said, it changed the way I coach. It changed the way I lead the team. She said, I realized that the only way that I could ever lead them is to first listen to them and find out where they were. And then as a leader, what does a leader do? A leader finds out where the people are, goes to where they are, and then leads them from there. A great lesson on the value of listening. That's why Woodrow Wilson said in your notes, the ear of the leader must ring with the voices of the people. Great leaders listen to, first of all, their team. In fact, I've often said my best ideas come from someone else, and it's very true. I have learned a long time ago that if I get around the right people and I ask enough questions, they're going to give me stuff that's going to add invaluable to me. And so every day of my life, somebody teaches me something. Every day of my life, I get out my quote thinking companion, a little notebook I have, and I write thoughts and write ideas. Yesterday, I was sitting down talking to somebody, and they said this to me. They said, many times wisdom doesn't come with age. Often, age just comes by itself. Man, I just wrote that down.